The Galactic Coalition Academy's Advanced Combat Theory classroom hummed with the soft blue glow of holographic displays. Cadet Lyra Venn sat in the third row, her posture relaxed but alert, a habit ingrained from growing up on Earth, the infamous Deathworld that had only recently joined the Coalition. Around her, cadets from 17 different species whispered nervously about the upcoming practical examination. Instructor Threx, a towering Kelzarian with crystalline skin that refracted light into rainbow patterns, was midway through explaining the finer points of threat assessment protocols. His four eyes swept across the classroom with practiced ease, though they lingered a moment longer on Lyra than the others. Humans were still a curiosity in Coalition space, simultaneously fascinating and terrifying to most species. The key to survival, Threx continued, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into perfect galactic standard, is anticipation. By the time aggression manifests, a trained warrior should already be. The attack came without warning. 4 cadets, 2 Vraxians and 2 Qualit, surged from their seats with military precision. It was a coordinated ambush, the kind that would earn them extra credit in Instructor Krell's asymmetric warfare class. Their target, the Deathworlder who'd scored highest in every combat simulation for 3 consecutive weeks, humiliating cadets who'd trained since childhood. The Vraxians were built like compressed muscle, their homeworld's heavy gravity making them formidable close combat specialists. The Qualit possessed forearms each and reaction times that put most species to shame. Together they represented overwhelming force. Lyra's chair clattered backward as she moved. What happened next would be analyzed frame by frame in the Academy's combat archives for years to come, played in slow motion for students studying Deathworlder combat responses. Second 1 to 3. The first Vraxian reached Lyra's position, 3-fingered hand extended in what should have been a takedown grip. Lyra's body twisted with fluid economy, her center of gravity dropping as she pivoted. Her elbow, reinforced by bones that evolved under Earth's crushing gravity, drove upward into the Vraxian's solar plexus. The impact folded him in half, his dense musculature offering no protection against the precise strike that disrupted his diaphragm. He collapsed, gasping for air his body couldn't draw. Second 4-6. Aquilit's 4 arms converged from her left, attempting the signature grapple that made his species such effective wrestlers. Lyra didn't retreat. Instead, she stepped inside his reach, negating the leverage advantage. Her hand found his primary arm, the dominant limb, and she executed a joint lock that Earth's ancient martial artists had perfected millennia ago. The sharp crack echoed through the classroom. The Qualit's shriek was cut short as Lyra's other hand struck the nerve cluster at his neck, a weak point she'd memorized from xenobiology class. He crumpled. Second 7-9. The second Vraxian showed better tactics, coming in low for a leg sweep while his Qualit partner attacked high. It was textbook pincer movement. Lyra jumped, not high, not wastefully, but enough. Her knee came down on the Vraxian's extended leg with her full body weight behind it. Another crack. Then she was spinning, her leg sweeping in a wide arc that caught the Qualit's center mass. The Deathworld strength behind that kick sent the 4-armed cadet sailing 3 meters before he crashed into a desk array. Second 10 to 12. The last Qualit, seeing his companions neutralized, hesitated. Fatal mistake. Lyra closed the distance before his 4 arms could coordinate a defense. She grabbed 2 of his wrists, using his own tensed muscles against him, and drove her forehead into his face. The Qualit's carapace cracked, not seriously, but enough. He staggered backward, vision swimming before his legs gave out. Silence blanketed the classroom like a physical force. Lyra stood among 4 groaning cadets, her chest rising and falling with controlled breaths. Her brown eyes swept the room, checking for additional threats before settling on Instructor Threx. A thin line of blue blood, her own, trickled from a split in her eyebrow. She didn't seem to notice. "Threat neutralized, sir," she reported, voice steady, requesting medical assistance for injured cadets. Instructor Threx's crystalline skin had gone completely transparent, a Kelzarian fear response he hadn't experienced since his own combat days. His translator struggled to process his rapid clicking for several seconds before finally rendering it to speech. 12 seconds, he managed. The ambush lasted 12 seconds. The combat clock frozen on the holographic display confirmed it. 00 12 7 3. As the medical drones arrived, their anti-grav stretchers humming softly. Threx approached Lyra. The other cadets gave them both wide berth. Around the classroom, species that had dominated coalition military forces for centuries looked at the human with newfound understanding and undisguised wariness. "Cadet Ven," Threx said quietly. "Were you aware they were going to attack?" "No, sir." Lyra touched her eyebrow, noticed the blood, and shrugged. "But on Earth we have a saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. They moved wrong. Weight distribution was off. I reacted. You sent 4 trained combatants to the infirmary in 12 seconds, Threx observed. That's not reaction. That's instinct." Lyra met his gaze without flinching. "On Earth, sir, everything is trying to kill you. The weather, the animals, the plants, sometimes even the air and water. We don't train to fight because we like violence. We train because our world taught us that hesitation is death." Threx's skin flickered through several colors. Fascination, respect, and something that might have been pity for the species that had tried to ambush her. He understood now why Coalition Command was both eager and terrified to integrate humans into their military forces. "The Deathworld breeds survivors," he said, his translator carrying weight of ancient Kelzarian wisdom. "No, sir," Lyra corrected gently as the medical drones carried away the last of her attackers. "The Deathworld breeds warriors. We choose to be survivors." As she returned to her seat and calmly reopened her notes on threat assessment protocols, the other cadets finally understood what it meant when someone earned the title of Deathworlder. It wasn't about being stronger or faster. Plenty of species had advantages there. It was about the absolute, terrifying efficiency that came from a species that had fought for its place at the top of an unforgiving food. Chain Instructor Threx resumed his lecture with newfound appreciation for why humanity had been so eagerly recruited into coalition forces and why their enemies had learned to fear them. Sometimes, the best warriors were forged not in training halls, but in the brutal crucible of a world that refused to let them be anything less than exceptional. The Deathworlders had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.